you ever heard somebody say something like, "You're gonna want to hear this," and had no idea what they were trying to say? I'm Jason, and this is Jason's Easy English, the podcast that helps you improve your English with clear, natural stories in everyday American conversation. Today, I'm sharing a classroom story about a professor, a group of students, and one international student who asked me a great question about fast American speech, those connected forms like gonna, wanna, gotta, hafta, kinda, and sorta. Just a quick reminder, if you like this episode, be sure to follow or subscribe. All right, let's get started. Now, this story is fictional, but it shows real American English in a realistic university setting. So one morning, I walked into a large classroom on campus. Students were chatting, the projector was buzzing, and the professor walked in with her usual energy. She smiled and said, "All right, everyone, you're gonna want to pay attention today." It came out fast. You're gonna want to pay attention. And a few students sat up straighter. The expression gonna wanna means, or is short for, going to, want to. In Portuguese, it would be something like, vocês vão querer prestar atenção. Or in Spanish, ustedes van a querer. You're gonna wanna. It's common when someone wants to highlight something important. A couple of minutes later, the professor continued, "You kinda need to remember this for the test. Then she added, "And some of you have to study more." Kinda need to? Have to study more? I noticed a student sitting next to me, an international student from Brazil. He tilted his head a little. After class, he leaned over and said, "Jason, what is she saying? What's kinda? And what's have to?" So I explained it to him right there in the classroom. Kinda is short for kind of, and sorta is short for sort of. And honestly, kinda and sorta mean the same thing. You can use either one. He nodded slowly. "Okay, and have to?" "Right," I said. "Well, have to is short for or comes from have to, ter que. And gotta also means basically the same thing. It's short for got to, which also means have to, or ter que in Portuguese. So have to and gotta, followed by a verb, have to study, gotta study, are basically the same in casual conversation. He opened his eyes wide. So two words or expressions can mean the same thing but sound totally different? I laughed. Right. Welcome to spoken American English. A moment later, another student in the class raised his hand and sighed dramatically. "Dr. Johnson, you gotta give us a break." Remember, gotta means you have to. Você tem que. You gotta give us a break. Everyone laughed, and the professor smiled and said, "Nice try, but you still have to study if you wanna understand this." My international friend turned to me and whispered, "So she used gotta and have to in the same two sentences." "Exactly," I said. "Remember, they both mean have to, ter que, and you can use either one." Later, as we were packing our backpacks, he said, "This is hard, but interesting. I guess I'll just learn it with time." "Exactly," I said. "You just pick it up." Now, this expression, pick it up, means to learn something naturally, like a language. Some people can pick it up, learn it naturally, without studying it directly. As we walked out of the classroom, another student joined us and said, "Hey, we're sorta confused. We're sorta confused about that last example. Can you explain it?" My international friend smiled. "Oh, sorta. Like kinda?" Exactly, I told him. Same idea. We talked for a minute, and then a group of friends walked by and said, "We're heading out." "We're heading out. You coming?" So here's an interesting phrasal verb. To head out means to leave. So when the friends said, "We're heading out," it was like, "Estamos saindo," right? We're leaving. We're heading out. Later that afternoon, we saw the professor again on campus. She waved and said, "Remember, we're wrapping up the unit next week, so you might wanna start reviewing." You might wanna. The expression might wanna comes from might want to. Talvez vocês queiram. Talvez você queira. Or quizás quieras in Spanish. You might wanna start reviewing. It's a soft way to give advice. You might wanna. Now, she also used the phrase, "We're wrapping up the unit." To wrap up is another phrasal verb, which means to finish. We're wrapping up the unit next week. My international friend took a deep breath. Okay, I think I understand a little better. Americans connect words. They speak fast. And sometimes one phrase has two versions. That's exactly right, I said. And the more you hear these forms, the more natural they become. All right, I hope that story was sorta fun and at least kinda easy to follow. Before I let you go, let's review the main points in that episode. Today we learned that gonna wanna means going to want to. You heard kinda and sorta, which both are short for kind of and sort of, meio que in Portuguese, meio que. And they are totally interchangeable in everyday speech. You can use kinda or sorta. You also heard hafta and gotta, which both mean have to or ter que. They are also interchangeable. You can use either form. We heard to pick it up, which means to learn something natural, and also the expression heading out. Head out means to leave. And then finally, we learned the phrasal verb to wrap up, which means to finish. Speaking of which, it's time to wrap up this episode because I need to head out. So as you can see, these forms are everywhere in natural American English, especially in relaxed conversation like fast classroom speech. So that was today's episode. I hope that you learned something new and were able to understand most of it. Remember, be sure to follow or subscribe to Jason's Easy English, and please share this podcast with your friends who might also be learning English. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.